Welcome to 10 Minutes with Tony Scott. I'm Tony Scott and I appreciate you tuning in today. Today's show is brought to you by Gentry Academy. Gentry Academy is a private school in Blaine that provides its students a high-end education and high-end hockey training. On today's show, we have a special interview with the fun teacher at Gentry, Ellie Wolter, and student athlete Evan Snell. Before we head into the interview with them, let's give some shout outs to a few tourney winners last weekend. Moose Goheen winners Minneapolis and Centennial were impressive as they each took home the very cool White Bear Trophy in the White Bear Lake Moose Goheen tournament. Centennial won the Eden Prairie tournament, the Spirit of Duluth, and now the Moose, and they were the number one seed and predicted to win the Blue Ox before that was postponed. A great season so far for the Cougars. Minneapolis won their second tournament of the year, winning the Glummerjack Cup in Stillwater, and now the Moose and White Bear. We will cut to our interview we recorded earlier with Ellie Wolter and Evan Snell at Gentry Academy. We are here today with Ellie Wolter and Evan Snell from the Gentry Academy. Thank you for coming in today. We're going to talk a little bit about the school, a little bit about the hockey, and get to know a little bit about both of you guys. I'm excited to roll up our sleeves here and get at it. Ellie, tell us a little bit about your education background, hockey background, everything that comes with being a teacher at Gentry Academy.
I grew up here in White Bear Lake, or in Minnesota, and went through elementary school to high school in White Bear, and went to University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire to get my education degree. I came back to Minnesota and I taught 2 years in the public school system, and now I've moved on to the private system with Gentry Academy.
What do you like about teaching there versus the public school?
What kind of drew me to Gentry was, well, the fact that it was a hockey academy. Huge hockey fan, played it all my life, love it.
Played in college?
Just 1 year.
Yep.
And I just really liked the fact that it was still a traditional school setting, not online. The kids are all there, we're doing hands-on stuff every day, and I have my own classroom still, which is awesome, and I've always wanted that. And then I also enjoy the 3 aspects of our school: leadership, academics, and athletics.
And the academics is pretty rigorous. When I was there for 1 day, I was kind of taken back by how hard it was for the kids in their academic structure. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, we push them hard. We expect a lot. We have the 4 core classes: language arts, science, social studies, and math. And then we also have our leadership program as well.
Great. Well, speaking of leaders, we have one here. Evan and I got a chance to meet when I was there last week at the school, and he questioned the rankings, which is get in line, Evan. They all question the rankings. Tartan's a really good squad. They've been a top 10 team. They've been in and out. Tell me a little bit about your team. Tell me about your chances and what you expect Tartan to do the rest of the year. We're getting down to playoff time now.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to all of a sudden sprout up and go pretty far, and I think our passing's just going to go up right at the end, and we're just going to go far.
All right, so he says they're going to go far. So what does far mean? Does that mean you're going to get out of districts, get to regions, go to state? I mean, you guys have the ability to get that far. How far do you think you guys will go?
I think we'll make regions, and I hopefully state.
That's a good prediction. I would say,
Way
you know
to
what?
go.
You should come and work for us, because that's about where I got you guys. And anything can happen on any given day, right? So talk a little bit about the hockey, and we'll get back to talk about your education there too. So from a hockey perspective at the school, we talked off camera. You said you love the stick handling part of it. Tell me a little bit about some of the stick handling drills and how it's maybe helped your game.
Well, he usually brings us.
He meaning Sean, right?
Yes.
All right.
He brings this marker, and he'll show us, like, he has this grid that he draws, and he shows us the moves and where the puck should be lined up. And then after we learn them, we go in 4 lines up and down the ice. And then after maybe like just a review day, he'll have tires up. So tires will be for speed, skating fast, and working on them. Then tires will be for doing it over and over again. And after you go through the tires, then you get to practice the move on either an empty net or Anton, our goalie.
Anton Castro, of course, a very good goaltender. Everybody who reads YHH knows Anton's a heck of a player. What's it like going against kids like him and others that are in the school? Chaz Cruz-Locious, we had Connor Kurth on the show. Lots of great hockey players. I was out there last week, ran into a few of them. What's it like to play with kids like that that are playing at such a high and competitive level?
Well, they're really, really good hockey players, and they have really good moves. But yeah, they are really good. I just can put it that way.
Let's talk a little bit about your schooling. You know, you've been in both public school, now here at a private school at Gentry. Talk about some of the differences between the both, and tell a little bit about her. And I've heard she's the fun teacher, but is that true now that we're on camera? We're going to document this?
Yeah.
It is true.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the schooling that you like.
I like the school because you get to ask more questions and understand the information better, more than a traditional school where maybe you have some kid who likes to talk a lot to other kids and you can't really understand the teacher, and then it's hard to ask questions because a bunch of kids are in line.
So you get a lot more hands-on attention,
Yeah.
smaller classrooms, but it's still like that school. It's not an online school.
Yes.
It's real like a traditional school, but you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
All right, well, great. So how do we get more information about the school, whether it's from a hockey perspective or education perspective? about
We
Gentry?
have a great website, gentryacademy.com. Tells all the information about our academics, leadership, hockey, the staff, all of that's on there. And we are now taking applications for next year's academic year, so you can go ahead and find that there. We also, coming up, are going to have some shadowing days. So once a month in March, April, and May, students and their parents can come check out Gentry, see what it's like. They will take our leadership class, have lunch with the students, and then they get to join them on the ice. And while they are on the ice, parents will get a question and answer session.
So basically, you're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to see what the
Yeah.
academics are like. Then you're going to get on the ice and train with Sean.
We'll taste of both.
We'll taste of both. Well, that's great. Well, thanks for coming in, Ellie. You are
Yeah.
definitely the fun teacher compared to the other two that I've
I don't
met.
know. We'll
That's for
see.
sure. And Evan, thanks a lot for coming
Thank
in.
you.
Good luck to Tartan and the rest of the season on your squad.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, you guys. We'll be back in just a second for the conclusion of the show. Okay, and now on to our featured Now prospects. 2018 Now prospects Hayden Brickner and Lucas McGregor stole the show in White Bear last weekend. The two from Centennial lit the lamp 5 times in a big 6-2 win over Edina on Sunday. As we wrote earlier in the week, Brickner is the complete package: strength, skill, and best of all, grit. McGregor can also play. His forte is putting the biscuit in the basket. The key to his success is a very deceptive delivery and a quick release. It's fun to watch these two play. Also, how about 19 Now prospect Grant Silanoff? He has 26 goals and 17 assists for Shattuck this winter. The Sabres are rated number 3 in the nation in Tier 1. And finally, Jake Begley from Hill Murray. He stopped 46 of 48 shots and 2 wins for the Pioneers last week. The sophomore goalie has been on our radar for a long time, dating back to his youth days in Matamidi and for the Minnesota Blades organization. News of the week. Last week, actually during the taping of this show, Minnesota Hockey announced that they plan to roll out a Tier 1 fall and spring program for U14, U16, and U18-year-olds in Minnesota. This announcement comes on the heels of great debate the last year or so whether to allow new schools or organizations like Bauer Emerson, the Minnesota Blades, and the Minnesota Magicians the ability to play Tier 1 hockey. This recent decision essentially shuts these organizations out and still allows Shattuck St. Mary's their affiliation with Faribault and their ability to compete for a national championship. This is a major stay tuned to YHH moment. We will cover what happens as these new programs administered by Minnesota Hockey move forward. We will also keep an eye on any legal battles that may ensue as a result with the organizations that were left out. Whiners Not Welcome. Last week we published an article titled Whiners Not Welcome. The article was our reaction to the litany of articles written about the demise of high school hockey in Minnesota. The central point of our piece was simple. Minnesota high school hockey is losing players to other more appealing developmental options. Each year, some hotshot writer decides to lament this handful of prospects who leave their buddies and high school classmates for greener pastures. These articles only make the problem worse and create a negative perception to a problem that is already being way overblown. So instead of writing the same article, we decided to write out some ideas that would make high school hockey more appealing than American or Canadian juniors. The feedback from the piece has been great. We are already set to meet with the Minnesota Hockey people and the High School Hockey Coaches Association in Minnesota. We also hope to meet with the High School League as well. As this process moves along, our readers will be the first to know about it. Tweet of the week. The tweet of the week this week comes from frustrated Mason Campbell. The 2001 defenseman from Rosemount Pee Wee AA team tweets out, after their team went 1-0-2 in pool play and didn't qualify for bracket play in the Moose Goheen. He tweets, quote, "Remember when tournaments didn't end with 2 undefeated teams?" End quote. Hashtag brackets. Mason's point is pretty clear. In tournaments with pool play, there are usually some games played that end in ties, and all kinds of ties and tiebreakers ensue to determine the eventual champion. Granted, Mason, my guess is at some point one of your teams has done well by these tiebreaker gods, and like this weekend, those same gods didn't bless your squad. The reason I chose his tweet was simple. I agree, we hate these awkward tiebreakers, and the other reason is simple. If a team wins a tournament, shouldn't they be the one who wins all 4 or 5 games? Thanks, Mace, for the tweet. Boom Roasted. This week's Boom Roasted goes out to fans that aren't being nice to other fans. Now let's be honest, 99% of the time, 99% of us fans are well behaved. But this past weekend, several reports of poor behavior were forwarded on to us. Okay, I get it. It's that time of year. We're all growing tired of the opposing team calling for every penalty and every bad call. But before you go over there and tell them off, think for a second that your son or daughter didn't sign up for hockey to get embarrassed by their mom or dad. They signed up because it's fun, and watching their mom or dad go at it with another parent for another team is not any fun. Boom Roasted. Thumbs up. In our Whiners Not Welcome article, we pointed out 3 athletes from high school hockey that needed recognition. Dylan Malmquist, he's turned down junior hockey the last 2 years to help Edina shoot for a three-peat in the state tournament. Lakeville's Jack Sadek is a multi-sport athlete who stars for Lakeville North this year. He will soon be wearing the University of Minnesota hockey sweater in the fall. And finally, Jack Olson from Lakeville South, the 2013 Wiz Wyatt Player of the Year. As a Pee-wee, has 28 points in 18 games so far as a freshman. These are just a few great stories of kids playing high school hockey here in Minnesota. Thumbs up to you guys. Finally, thanks to Ellie Wolter and Evan Snell and Gentry Academy for their sponsorship this week. We really appreciate all the positive feedback on the show. We'll see you next week.